guys, how's it going? This is Jeff and Ed on Jed Adventures, reviews on comics, movies, etc. Today we're going to be doing a review of The Killing Joke, which came out not too long ago.
It's like a week?
A couple days.
No. Is it a week?
Is it a week already?
This is why we put computers up.
Anyway, a week. If you haven't seen or read The Killing Joke yet, this is going to have a bunch of spoilers and our own opinions to it. So if you want to watch the movie, read the comic book, then come back here if you give a crap about our opinion or not.
And it is out on Blu-ray, so if you missed it in theaters, it was only like a two-day release. I think they made like well over $3 million.
Did they?
Yeah, well over $3 million
that's pretty good for a comic book movie making, for that adaptation.
You're only 2 days in theaters and very limited release, and you make $3 million. That's not bad.
It's not bad. So initially, I heard a lot of different reactions to the movie. I heard a lot of good, a lot of bad. Me personally, I was happy with it. They did change things in the movie. Obviously, not every movie is going to be spot on. I think Watchmen was the only other movie that's pretty spot on to the comic.
Closest to it.
It was just beautiful.
Except they missed that big monster. I think it was an octopus.
Besides that squid thing. I liked it. I think that it showed I think it got pretty spot on with the relationship between Batman and the Joker. It's such a in-depth relationship. The movie itself doesn't do the relationship justice, but it shows that connection between them, especially that ending scene. If you watched it, the ending scene is pretty much them laughing together, and it just kind of pans out and fades and plays the...
Yeah, and the beginning part more or less talks had to give you some backstory, because not a lot of people really know too much about Batgirl. Is it Batgirl? Batgirl. Not a lot of people know too much about Batgirl, so they had to give you some idea as to what her character was like, what their relationship between her and Batman was, because in the comic book, they just kind of open up, and the bad things happen when they do. And this was a dramatic moment to people who had been reading the comic books and really understand the relationship between Batman and Batgirl. And so when it happened, it was dramatic, but in the comic book. And so they had to give you a little bit more info, because there are some people who have never really heard of The Killing Joke, or maybe they never read it, but they want to get out there and watch the movie and see what it is. Especially, with comic books getting as popular as they are. In fact, that's kind of how we got started, too. We really liked the comic book movies that had been coming out and kind of decided to dip our toes and dive ever deeper into that avenue. So it starts off talking about or giving you an idea of their relationship, and then it kind of breaks in the middle. And it can be argued, and this is why a lot of people had problems with it, because it generally started off with talking about their relationship. And in the comic book, it kind of just starts off with the main story, with Batman coming into Arkham Asylum to talk to the Joker.
And that's why I appreciated that whole... in the movie, I appreciated that build-up. I could have done without some scenes as far as, like that whole musical number. I could have done without it. Mark Hamill did he's always done an amazing job with the Joker, in my opinion. And whenever I read a comic, I think we talked about this a couple days ago when we watched the movie. Every time I read the Joker character in any comic book or anything like that, I instantly hear Mark Hamill's voice. He played him very well. His voice is super iconic, especially to the Joker role.
I feel like, because I think I had heard that doing the Joker voice puts a lot of strain on Mark Hamill's vocal cords, so he really wanted to die down or just kind of slow down the role in terms of playing the character a lot, because it does put a big strain on him, because you hear that laugh and the way he talks, and And if you've ever heard him in like an interview, it sounds nothing like that. So he's got to put a lot of effort into making that voice. And so personally, I feel like I heard the ending of I don't want to say it's the end. It's a little bit too grandiose, but I feel like Mark Hamill is getting a little bit tired of the voice. And not only is he getting tired of it, but it's also wearing on him.
Well, he said he wanted to do the Killing Joke. He wanted to make that into a movie, and he got it. Remember, he said, "Be careful what you wish for," because before the movie, if you saw it in theaters, they showed that little, what would you call it?
It's like a preview, like an intro.
Like an intro to it, and it was Mark Hamill speaking about the role and how he wanted to do the movie, and they presented him with or how he actually even got into the whole Joker scene. He didn't even think he could be the Joker. That was the last person that he thought that he could voice, and he ended up, getting that. But he wanted to do the Killing Joke. They presented it to him, and he basically thought, well, shit.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for. I think he did good. I've heard a lot of people say, he's losing it.
I said that.
I don't think so. I think his voice is super iconic to where he's getting older in age, obviously. So maybe that's one reason. But I still loved it. Another thing that I read is that whole sex scene. Personally, I could have done without the sex scene. I understand how maybe, it furthers the plot. It furthers their relationship.
It gives I guess are we in full spoiler mode?
Full spoiler mode.
Okay.
I already just... So if you haven't... We pretty much gave away everything so far.
Yeah.
But we're going to give away a lot more and go a little bit more in depth.
It's a pretty key plot point. So they kind of build that up in the first section, where they're talking a lot about... Or they show a lot of the dynamic between Batman and Batgirl. And the first part is them on a case, where it's this new guy on the block who's basically obsessed with Batgirl. And he's dangerous, he's a sociopath, he kind of looks like an early version of what the Joker might be, if maybe the Joker had more mob ties and grew up in a mob environment. And he gets obsessed with Batgirl. And it's a very sexual thing, meaning most of their conversations and the way the character was designed are sexually charged. And I think that gets under Batgirl's skin, and as it goes on, it gets under Batman's skin, because he realizes that not only is this character dangerous, but all those human things come up when you're, even if it's like a work relationship, especially if you're like the Batman, and these are all characters, but if you're taking it seriously...
Fucking badass is what he is.
Yeah?
He owns it, dude.
I'm pretty sure he didn't talk like that.
No, but he owns it. It's like that. So in the scene, if you haven't seen it already, Barbara Gordon gets on top of her, man. He like takes it off, and he doesn't. It's like he's fighting her, and then he's like, "This might as well happen." I'm Batman, and then it just happens. It doesn't show everything. It just basically shows Barbara Gordon on top of him, and then she removes her blouse and.
And that was kind of like the release point to the build-up in tension that had been happening throughout the beginning of the movie. And that really only served to give you insight or to help build that relationship, so that when the Joker comes in and he does what he does, which is at some point in the story, he goes up to Barbara Gordon's house while she's having tea with her father, and shoots her in the stomach, and
which is an iconic scene to me. And
it's an iconic scene.
In the Rebirth issue, which we'll get more into, we're going to do more videos on the Rebirth issue and get you current. What we're building up to is to do a weekly video. Me personally, and Edward himself will do uploads also. But in the Rebirth issue of Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, it shows that scene. It shows that scene. Yeah, it does. Because it's kind of going through the I guess the high points of her life. Not high point, but
That's a low point.
It goes through some of the major points in her life, and that's one of them.
Did it show sex between her and Batman?
It didn't.
No?
No, that's kind of sad.
Probably because that never happened.
It didn't happen in the comic. It didn't happen in the comic. So it shows that scene where she's there with with Commissioner Gordon, and she's getting tea together, and they're just talking about, you know, day-to-day things. And they hear a knock at the door, and she's talking about how she doesn't, she wasn't expecting it. And of course, opens the door, it's the Joker with this palm tree button up on.
Very casual Joker.
And with
khaki shorts.
Yeah, I think he has a hat on,
and
even
a sun hat.
Sun hat, and just caps her in the spine.
Bam, bitch. Try to walk now.
Which, you know,
Try to move your little bat feet.
Again, full spoiler mode right now, and that within itself puts Barbara Gordon in a wheelchair. Therefore, she becomes the Oracle. In the Rebirth issue, they go back to she ends up not being in the wheelchair because of experiment stuff. Where she gets out, she's able to walk again, but for a period of time, she is a character called the Oracle, and she's basically the eyes and ears of Gotham. You know that?
I know she was even for the video. You know.
And at the end of the movie, it hints towards that too. It shows, you know, the Oracle symbol and how her being in a wheelchair and stuff like that. Point being is it's kind of, I like how it kind of fit in. It's, you know, fitting in, and it's revisiting that part, especially in Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, with that being the Rebirth coming out. And they just released issue 1 this past Wednesday, which was a really good issue. She's in Japan, overseas.
What for?
To get away from everything.
Batfish?
To get away from everything.
Oh.
She runs into this old-time villain superhero called Fruit Bat. She's just, no, really, it's funny because she's this super old lady, but she still kicks ass.
Okay, Fruit Bat?
Fruit Bat, that's her name.
Jesus.
That's her legit superhero name in
right.
Japan, overseas.
I love Batman, but sometimes you get a little silly.
The little old lady that can kick ass.
Batgirl, come taste my melons.
So, it made $3.2 million in 2 nights.
Really?
3.2 million 2 nights.
3 million.
That is awesome for a comic book to become a movie and then it be animated too. It's like cartoon. It's pretty much cartoon animation. It's not, you know, like The Incredibles or Shrek or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not a big Pixar thing. It's not a big Disney thing. It's a small Warner. It's not small, but it's a Warner Brothers animated movie. And most of the time, those animated movies go straight to DVD. And this time, for whatever reason, no, it went straight to DVD. But it also got a theater release, and I think people coming out showed that it's going to gain some traction, especially with all the new movies coming out. People want to learn as much as they can about Batman. This was a very iconic and controversial comic book when it came out.
Yeah.
And so I had some problems with it, which was namely mostly the way they directed the art. I think they set up a lot of really good tension moments, like moments where there could have been a lot of tension. Well, let me get back to the tension, but first of all, the art. I think Batman looked a little bit goofy.
Goofy? So?
Yeah.
I thought he was fine.
I thought, because when you watch
the movie... It reminded me
movie,
of the animated series. That's what it almost looks like.
That's not the way it looked like in the animated series. The ears were straighter and maybe a little bit shorter, and they were straight up. But Batman's kind of had this weird, like curve to them, and they were a little bit taller, like that. And then he had that weird eyebrow thing, that Adam West 1960s eyebrow thing that I guess, I don't know why that was I guess it's a stylistic design, and they went for it. And they had this weird tiny bat on him. And that's actually probably the way it was drawn in the comic book, I think, right? Because it was a pretty small bat.
Which one are we talking about?
The symbol that was on his chest
but
in the movie.
Which comic?
The Killing Joke.
Oh, okay. I remember it being small.
It was small, right? So, but where his ears curved like that? I know they changed a lot of the style of the art. So the art that's in the movie is similar to, but not very much close to the comic book. They had to change some stuff up. like with the beginning of the movie, and as far as the tension parts go, I think that there was there were problems with it. Okay, like I'll give you one example. So I feel like Joker there's a key point in the story where so after they shoot Barbara Gordon, and he starts basically molesting her. There's a
big part of the movie that we haven't mentioned. After she gets shot, Joker basically clears the room, because he does clear the room, doesn't he?
Yeah, kidnapped Gordon.
They kidnap Gordon. His henchmen take away Gordon, and he stays in the room with Barbara Gordon, and he unbuttons her shirt, which obviously notions towards her being fondled or raped. Is fondled and raped the same thing?
It depends on who you're talking to.
Okay, so he ends up raping her. And later on in the movie...
Or at least it's insinuated.
It's, yeah.
You know, we don't know gritty details exactly what he did to her, but...
Barbara Gordon gets raped by the Joker.
/ molested.
Which is really hardcore shit. And I liked it.
That's gross.
Not like in that way.
Yeah?
But I added to the story a lot.
Are you sure?
Like, a lot.
See, that face that you just made makes me think that you liked it a different way.
No. No. I like DC specifically for that thing. They get really dark. The Watchmen was dark.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
The Watchmen was really dark. But I like that they went there.
A comedian died.
It's stupid.
I love that line.
Back to the review.
Well, hold on. First of all, that scene when Rorschach beats the shit out of that guy with a tray. You're not stuck in here. I'm not stuck in here with you.
That's exactly what I think of that.
You're stuck in here with
me. He just goes.
Sounds like, oh god.
Just goes ham on
I think we're stuck in here with you, Jeffrey. But
it made the comic super real.
Yeah.
It brought in that worldly aspect that, hey, this stuff happens.
Real shit.
Yeah. Not meaning that, the Joker and Batman are real, but like it brings in worldly shitty Batman coming to you.
September.
Sometime when we decided to upload it.
As soon as we can get the clothes.
It brings that
Hashtag
real
shitty
world.
Batman.
It hashtag it. It brings in that real world aspect to that stuff like that does happen.
Yeah.
And if the Joker was real, I'm pretty sure that would happen. Like stuff like that, innocent people dying,
First of all,
being raped. But
the cops would have shot him in the head a long time ago.
Oh yeah, he'd be gone.
But it adds. You're right. It adds a lot of realism, and it does a lot to to ground the characters. Making these mythological characters play out real human stories. And the problem I had was not that they did that, but that they didn't give enough time to how dramatic of a thing or traumatic of a thing that could have been. For Barbara Gordon,
it was focused on, but it was brushed over. Right,
because right after that, when the Joker's taking Commissioner Gordon, and this is probably one of the biggest problems I had with the movie. When the Joker's taking Commissioner Gordon through this little hall, he puts him in a little train and he's riding through with these weird...
That's when the musical number happens.
Little people, mutants. It's a dude with like one eye and two teeth.
Well, it's like circus freaks.
Circus freaks.
Because he buys a circus. Because he's the Joker and he can do that, apparently.
Yeah.
He just...
So he takes Commissioner Gordon through the little show. And he's talking to him about madness and how much easier it is to surrender to madness in face of the crushing reality that bad things happen. And that was kind of the key, Joker was trying to say, you're not too different from me, and all it takes is one bad day, everything to go wrong in your life, and... next thing you know, you're exactly like me. And the only comfort in life is to just give up. Just give in, surrender to the madness,
He's trying to break Commissioner Gordon. And
he does that by sending him through this maze, giving him a talk.
Naked. Dimension. He strips him of his clothes, puts him in a cage, like an animal.
Very autoerotic.
And he puts him on this...
I mean... No. No. It's not... So he puts him in a little collar and they take him through the train and he starts showing him pictures, and this was very well done. It was actually getting really intense because you can tell that it was terribly affected because he had to watch his naked daughter being abused.
Joker takes pictures of the rape. He takes pictures of Barbara Gordon basically spread out and open and vulnerable, beaten,
naked.
And he's through this ride. They're just everywhere on screens. So he's being forced to see his daughter naked and raped and defeated and broken, and within that, Joker's trying to break him, which he does. I think he does
a little bit.
And then that's when the song and number come in, which is why I could do without it, because it was such an intense scene that it could have been just like we said this. It could have just been silent. And
they could have left you with Commissioner Gordon just crying,
his screams of sorrow, and that I think that would have hit the audience so much more. Whoever is watching it would hit him so much because it's already a hard hitting scene.
Mm-hmm.
For it being an animated show, an animated movie, and everything, it hit very hard. And so that's why I could have done without the song and dance number. Nothing against it. I mean, it was a clever
Honestly,
song. It just could have done without it.
It was a little jarring because not only was it not a component in the comic book, but here we have this great dramatic scene where Commissioner Gordon is on the edge of his sanity and he is breaking down and he's screaming, "Barbara!" which is a little reminiscent of BVS with Martha. Martha!
What's your mom's name? We have to be cool now.
We have to be friends. Your mom's name is Martha. My mom's name is Martha.
Why are we even fighting?
Did we just become best friends?
We did.
So it was a great dramatic build-up, and then it was they were lingering on the scene where he was just at the end of the show, and he's just screaming, surrounded by the pictures, naked, and he's holding himself, and you wanted a little bit more. You wanted maybe 10 more seconds of just lingering on the scene to give you a taste of really set you in that this terrible thing happened, and it was just taken away too soon.
There's this scene that happens directly after this. It's once he gets out, right? And the Joker is talking about someone who operates without authority. And
that was before.
That was before it?
That was when he was taking him through the ride, and he's like, what do you say to people who don't obey the rules?
And of course everyone's, agreeing. The circus freaks are just screaming, yeah, and egging him on. And you first assume that he's talking about himself,
mm-hmm.
the Joker. And I thought that this scene was beautiful too, because we're all in agreement, We're thinking it's the Joker, he operates without authority, does things without regard, which is the same thing. But he's basically explaining all these bad things that you would think that apply to the Joker. And he gives him, what does he give him to throw? It's something.
A book. It was like
it's a book.
Was just a regular book, and it says the law on it.
The law. So Joker's egging Commissioner Gordon on, throw it, and it's Joker standing.
Well,
there.
he asked him. He's like, "What would you do to someone who doesn't obey the law?" And everyone's screaming at him, and he's like, "I'd throw the book at him." And he's like, "Well, do it then." And
yeah, he's egging him on to throw the book at him.
For some reason, there was a book there. I guess the Joker figures he would have said that. Although if I was the police, I would have been like, "Well, you put him in jail."
I do
kind of fuck up the Joker's.
Do my job.
I put him in jail, like we're supposed to.
Anyway,
that would fuck up the Joker's plan because the Joker had a book there, and he's like, "Well, throw it."
So once he gets up the nerve to throw it, and he throws it, and right when he throws it, this pop-up of Batman comes up. And it hits him, and that's when you realize everything that applied to him applied to the Batman also. you know, the person that he was talking about might have been himself too, but it also applies to the Batman. You know, working outside the law, you know, doing whatever he wants basically, because he's the Batman. So, doing whatever he wants, and you start to realize how connected and how similar they both are. At least that's where I started to realize. That's where it kind of settled into me a little bit more. It's like, oh
shit.
Batman and Joker are starting to look like one and the same, in a certain aspect. Another thing that the movie goes into is part of the Joker's origin, which I thought was great. That he wasn't a bad guy all along, which for most villains it happens that way. You know, and didn't start off as a bad guy. He's just trying to. He's a failed comedian who's just looking for work. His wife is pregnant, so he resorts to, what would you call it? Like a job with the mob.
Quick money.
Is it like?
Yeah, they were running a con on. Well, it wasn't a con, but they were. He worked at a company that, for some reason, happened to be right next to another building that the mob needed to get into, and so he needs to make enough money to get his wife out of the city or out of the apartment that they live in.
Apartment that they're in, because his wife is pregnant
and this story is woven in between the main story. So every once in a while, maybe at every break,
you'll see a flashback of the Joker's past life, and it leads up to how he got to where he is.
And this all leads up to the dramatic moment where Batman. So he figures out when he's in the asylum, he figures out that the guy who's there isn't the Joker. And so he's spending all this time looking for Joker. Meanwhile, Joker is torturing Commissioner Gordon. And all while this is happening, every once in a while you'll get a flashback to the Joker's supposed origin, which is something that the creator wrote. But even when you read the comic book or you watch the movie, the Joker admits that
different origins.
He doesn't even really know what his origin is.
No.
He even says, if I have...
that's how batshit crazy he is.
If I had an origin...
You get it? Because the Bat. This is Batman. Batshit crazy. The Joker. Yeah. So it goes back to his one of his possible origins, which I feel like this origin would be the most fitting, especially in the comic book timeline, considering the Red Hood and everything else that comes with the Red Hood and how he ran that gang for a little bit. And
did he?
Yeah, Red Hood.
You know a little bit more than I do.
He ran the Red Hood, and then that's when Jason Todd comes in after he, gets resurrected in the Lazarus pool.
Pit.
Pool? Pit. Pool?
Pit?
I think it was a pool. Jason Todd, which is also, definitely top 3 favorite Robins. Jason Todd.
Really?
Yes.
He's a fucking asshole.
But for that reason, he doesn't listen to Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, but he becomes the Red Hood.
You know what I love? In that, quick sidetrack, in that book that we read, it was like the prequel to the whole event happening with Jason Todd being killed.
Mm-hmm.
And the Batman and Alfred are talking, and they're like, yeah, he's reckless and blah blah blah. And,
like him.
And he's like, just like you, Master Wayne. And he's like, yeah, I know, that's what scares me. But Jason Todd doesn't really hear any of it. And
as soon as he walks away,
he hears all the bad
shit.
shit.
He's listening to everything that him and Alfred are talking about. All the bad shit that's about Jason Todd. He's reckless. He doesn't listen. He's not ready for this and that. And as soon as Jason Todd gets tired of it and he just takes off and storms off, as soon as he leaves, they acknowledge how great he is.
And Batman's like,
how he has the potential to basically become Batman
as good or better.
As good or better whenever he's ready to, pass on the torch.
And that's when he heads out to go
get this shit
Complete a
kicked
mission.
out of him by Joker, who
Yeah.
ends up kidnapping him.
It's a trap. The trap.
So back to the Killing Joke. The origin of the Joker, it fit, and it brings in the world a little bit more because as he's talking about meeting up for the job, a detective finds him and lets him know that his wife and unborn child are dead. And a freak accident that they don't really go into detail about. I mean, she got electrocuted or something like that. Is that what it is?
Yeah. She was working with machinery.
Machinery,
Million
she-
to one odds. She
Yeah,
gets electrocuted.
she gets electrocuted
Dies.
and she dies with the
Fried bitch.
with the unborn baby in her still.
Deep fried bitch.
Deep fried. It's gross.
Well, yeah.
So to which then he all of a sudden doesn't want to do the job, which can't blame him because they were the only reason why he wanted to do the job, why he resorted to this, and the mob people basically tell him no, you're too far in, no way. So he's forced to do it. They make him wear the red hood, the original, the glass thing that he can't see.
Isn't even a hood.
No,
It's a half a pill. Half a pill
half
casing?
A glass pill casing. A giant, comically huge.
The
half
red
a
pill gang. More accurate than the red hood. It's not a hood. It's a pill. It's half a pill casing.
He took the red pill.
That's fucked up.
He did.
Is that the reality pill or the Matrix pill?
I don't remember.
Things to Google.
Thanks to Google. Anyway, he's in that original Red Hood costume, which they show in the Arkham games, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've played Arkham Asylum, that's that same one that they reference to.
Or Arkham City.
Or Arkham City.
Arkham Knight.
Any of the Arkhams, really.
Arkham Bus
He
Stop.
can't really see in it, and they're going through the factory, and there's security there, and the mob guy's getting mad. He's like, "You didn't tell me there's security," and he's like, "I
Haven't
know."
worked here in years.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't worked here in years. So, two mob guys
Would you figure they would do, like...
scope out. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
area.
It's like, we're gonna trust this one guy who worked here years ago.
He doesn't know what
He's good enough.
new security systems are there. That's poor planning on the mob's part.
So Batman intercepts everything. He gets there, which is I thought was really cool because Batman has to do with this origin of the Joker's making, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
He kills the mob guys. He tells the security guards to leave basically because they're shooting. Batman's against guns. He's a knife guy.
No guns. Just knives. What?
Guy has a bazooka.
No guns. There's a scene where he ran in and everyone had assault rifles and he's behind a crate and I was like, bet you wish you had a gun now, didn't you, Batman? He's just got these little dagger knives and he's like, fuck!
But somehow, because he's Batman, obviously he manages
Yeah, of course.
because he's Batman.
Hey, Batman.
In the latest issue of Batman, they capture him. No, yeah, and they take off his belt.
Yeah.
and it has over
A
30-something compartments.
A million doohickeys. We're only 30% cataloged, and they're like in the second pocket of his belt. And I
This
was
dude
like,
can't even clean his room.
don't do that.
that.
Don't do that in front of these people. All two of them.
So me and you, because we're gonna rewatch it.
No.
So it's Batman ends up intercepting. He handles the two mob people. Joker is startled, and he can't see because he has the red hood on.
Mm-hmm.
And Batman's actually trying to help him. He gets there and he's trying to approach him. Joker's scared out of his mind. What happens is he trips and he falls back. And in the Red Hood costume, he falls into the ink pit, isn't it? It's like an ink.
It's like a chemical pit.
Chemical pit.
I don't think
And,
you can get your skin bleached white by ink.
in the chemical pit, and it spits him out on an outside gutter. And this is all developing throughout the movie. These are all like the basically small scenes that they put in between, showing the lead up to how the Joker became the Joker. He buffles out, and he takes off the red hood.
What does he do?
Buffles out.
He buffles out.
Buffles, is that a word?
You know what? That's not a word, but that sounds like what you hear when he falls out.
Is it buffle? Yeah. So I'm gonna use that. He buffles out.
Okay.
And he takes off the red hood, and it doesn't show his face right away. It just shows, the hands looking looking into the reflection of the puddle, and he just starts laughing, and that's the point where he goes mad. He goes mad. He sees himself, and he just goes crazy, and that's what makes the Joker the Joker. His failed life, technically. Always trying to do something and it never working out. His failed job as a comedian.
I can relate.
It's just...
I was a comedian with a pregnant wife.
It's...
And then she died. Her name was Starla. She was a hooker.
Starla?
She was a hooker.
Was a hooker.
It didn't work out. I had to kill her.
Yeah, so now you're the Joker? No.
I'm brown.
You're not that cool.
I'm brown. They won't write me. We got a few.
It leaves...
Blue Beetle, he's Hispanic.
Blue Beetle is Hispanic, which the Rebirth's coming out soon.
Holmes.
Short commercial break that we took.
Minor difficulties.
Just minor. So where we were at was the point where Joker...
Batman gets to the carnival.
And he's already gone to the funhouse, and he buffles out of the funhouse. I like that word now.
That's not a fucking word.
He buffles out of the funhouse, and they meet, and Batman gives him that chance. He tells him, I don't want there to not. I don't want there to. How do I put that?
I don't want it to be. I don't want. Damn.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be that I never tried.
Yeah. He doesn't want to not try with him, and he gives him a chance. He says, basically, we can work this out. And Joker politely says no. He says no to it, and
which seemed a little normal.
Yeah,
of a thing to do.
You expected the Joker to say no, to decline.
Oh yeah, no, but not in the way he did. He said no like, I have a moment of clarity, and I know that I'm gonna go back to being insane. But while I'm clear, I'm gonna be like, no, I can't.
Yeah. And he does it in a civil fashion, and I like that. It again, it furthers their relationship. And I love that was in there, and it was in the comic, and it's such a deep scene. And the Joker tells a joke. Not a funny one, but it represents, in my opinion, it represented them.
Yeah.
He says, there's two guys on the building, right? And...
well, there's two guys in jail, and...
They escape.
They make a plan to escape, and when they do, there's two of them on the... There's two of them on the top of the roof, and there's a good spacing between one building and the next. And they see that far off in the distance, there's a lot more buildings, and it could take them to freedom if they just jump over this big one. And one of the guys jumps over, and one of them doesn't. And one of them looks to the other and says, "Hey, if you jump over, we can get free." And the other guy's like, "No, I can't. I'm scared." And the guy who jumped over turns on a flashlight and he says, "Look, with this flashlight, I'll make a bridge, and you can walk over the light over to the building."
And who's to say that when I walk over there?
And the crazy guy's like, or the other guy who's too scared to go says, "What do you think I am, crazy? You're just gonna turn the light off when I'm halfway over." And
again, not a funny joke. But Joker starts laughing, and Batman just breaks. and he laughs with him, and that's when the movie starts to end. But that within itself, I took it personally as the joke was about them. You know, the joke could represent them as to, you know, and it really the roles of the men could be switched either way. Either one can be the Joker, either one can be the Batman. That's how, but that shows how alike they are.
With the Batman trying to pull the Joker
To say, hey, basically, you don't have to be bad.
You don't have to be crazy. There's good things over on this side, and the Joker's scared. Well,
and then flip flopped. Hey, it's fine to be crazy. Be crazy. You know. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. That's what I thought, and I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, this comic book is really well written, and it serves a deeper thought. And in terms of the entanglement that these two characters are in the clash of the Joker's type of chaos and giving into madness, and you can take it onto a broader level, like giving into your darker impulses, and giving into all those dark thoughts because it's easy. Because it's so much easier to...
What he did to Commissioner Gordon.
To get angry and give in. And the Batman's like, no, you can't give in.
You gotta keep fighting. You gotta be right. You know, there's a right thing to do. And, you know, obviously the Joker's answer is it's okay to be crazy. Run with it. Be crazy. You know, life's too messed up to not be crazy. Yeah, overall, excellent movie. I didn't have too many problems with it, other than what we mentioned here, and really it's not a lot.
Not for you.
It's not for me.
And everyone has their own opinion.
Everyone has their own opinions, which is why it's him and me, and to give y'all guys more of a try and relate. But
so scale out of 10, what do you give it?
I'm gonna have to give it an 8.
An 8?
8.5.
Very generous.
I am because I liked it, and I'm just a sucker for the comic and how alike it was to the comic. Besides the scenes that they added in that wasn't in the comic, I did like the job that they did do on it. It made me feel certain ways with emotions, and it gave me an even deeper thought to the relationship. And I appreciate that the movie did that for me. So I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.5. You?
I'd give it probably a 6.5.
6? Wow.
Yeah. Not that a 6.5 is entirely bad. It's on the good side. If you're thinking of... Well... I think that sometimes they did take a lot away from the dramatic tension. And because of the potential I saw for it to be good, it took me down a few points, because I know that instead of that dancing scene where he's doing the song and dance, we could have added something else, maybe a little more exposition. Maybe we could have focused a little bit more on the tension or the surreal rawness that was Barbara Gordon's rape, how she was going through that. Because as soon as we saw her in the hospital, we never saw her again.
No.
It was her in the hospital. Batman comes and she's like,
"He's
bad. He's in the carnival." Well, at the end, yeah.
And so I think despite those scenes, what it gave us made up for it. It would have made it a lot deeper if they took those scenes out, or they added a little bit more emotion than there already was.
Which there already was a lot. There was already some real shit happening.
Yeah, and it would have pushed it even further. And maybe they thought it was a little bit too risky, but honestly, they already had the rated R rating. I honestly would have just ran with it. Yeah. I would have just been like, okay.
Like, there was one character.
We'll do everything.
There was one of the thugs was like, are you effing serious or something like that? And I was like, hold on. This is a rated R movie.
You can say that word. Your mom's not here.
Seriously, like... you figure, like, okay, you're gonna have a sex scene, you're gonna have a molestation scene,
a rape,
you're gonna have a naked Jim Gordon, which is already traumatic enough, and you're gonna have one of your thugs.
You're gonna have hookers in it.
Effing done. I'm effing done. like I'm a cartoon, like this isn't a real thing. And I know it's a cartoon, but it's real to me. No, so any Batman is good Batman. I just, I feel like the more you try to make the product good, and the more you try to take the storylines, or just not even seriously, but treat them well, in terms of creating dramatic tension and all that things that are supposed to serve the story and flesh out the character. As long as you do more of that, that's going to be better for the franchise. You're going to get more animated movies if you make them better and better, because more people are going to go see them. We just made 3.2 million in 2 days.
Yeah.
3.2 million people love Batman.
I
They want
wouldn't.
more.
I wouldn't.
And I loved going to the movies and watching Batman on the big screen, even if it's just an animated movie. And that, actually, I shouldn't say that, because animated movies can be done really, really well. And there have been very good animated movies.
And then you have successful adult comedies like Family Guy, Rick and Morty. Well, I would.
Tiny Rick.
Yeah. What is it? Bob's Burgers. It's getting weird, Jerry. Okay. Yeah. That's. But with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be adding more videos. We'll get it to the point where it's weekly, for me at least.
I might be doing more of a bi-weekly thing, because I also go to school and I need to read my books. And it gets a little tough to read comic books and watch movies and make videos and edit videos. But I'm definitely going to try. And for sure, every movie that comes out,
every major movie as far as that has to do with DC or Marvel, really, that's because that's what we're going to gear more towards.
I'm going to do other movies, like if I could, I might go into The Farting Corpse. What's the name of that movie? Daniel Radcliffe?
Farting Corpse.
Have you seen? Swiss Army Man. It's an indie movie, really good. I'm hearing it's really good. I don't know if it's really good or not. I'd have to watch it myself. But I'm interested in doing reviews like that, and so you'll be getting a lot of content varying widely. So we're gonna get
we'll do our own videos, and we'll give y'all some diversity. He's gonna do things I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna do things he's not gonna do. I'm gonna be doing Loot Crate unboxings, which is coming to you soon. As long as we get more stuff situated.
Yeah, 3 ways and stuff.
Yeah.
No,
it's getting weird.
It's gonna get weird. Jed's Adventures. Come join us.
And then eventually we'll be uploading skits, which is one of the root things that started this whole idea.
Yeah.
Reviews is just something that we can do verbatim.
Keep you entertained. It's a little bit faster than skits.
We enjoy it. I enjoy reading comics and watching movies, and
I've wanted a platform.
If it brings
to
a
talk
smile
about
to any one of y'all's faces, it's enjoyable for me.
That's gross.
It's enjoyable if I can make you happy.
If I can make you smile,
it would mean the world to me. We love you guys. We love you guys, and we don't even know you.
All 2 of you.
Exactly.
And then 4.
Well, so with that being said, subscribe, like, watch,
share,
pick
your nose.
We'll have more. We'll have more coming as soon as we can, guys.
But not in public. Don't pick your nose in public.
We'll have more coming as soon as we can. We want to do some more review videos, specifically on certain runs and issues, and we'll build up to where we're doing a weekly thing.
Every major movie, you're gonna get a Jeff and Ed review. Maybe not at this desk. Maybe in a car. Probably at this desk. Hopefully at this desk. Yeah. So
again, like, subscribe, watch, love us.
Hate us? Watch us anyways?
Hate us? It's okay if you hate us.
Hate watch us?
I hate myself sometimes.
That's dark.
Right? It's true.
Jed's Adventures.
We'll see you guys next time.